Hello everyone, this is CA Divesh Goyal, practicing company secretary from Delhi. Today in this video, we are going to discuss about the process of transfer of shares in private limited company. Why I am discussing about the process of transfer of share in private limited company? Because as we know, as on date, in public company, it is not allowed to transfer the shares in the physical mode. Because as per the amendment in the Rule 9A, public company it is mandatory to convert their share into demat. If the shares of the shareholder are not in the demat form, they are not allowed to transfer their shares in the physical mode. So in the public company, shares can be transferred only in the demat form. So that's why, and we know in case of we have to transfer the share in the demat form, we have to do it through the RTA only. So in this video, we are specifically going to discuss about the process of transfer of shares in case of private limited company. The provision of transfer of shares under private limited company is mentioned under Section 56 of the Companies Act. Section 56 read with Rule 11 of the Companies Share Capital and Debenture Rule 2014 govern the process of transfer of share in private limited companies. Even in case of private companies, for transfer of share, companies have to check Article of Association given in the Table F of Schedule 1 because generally private companies guided by the Article of Association. And as per Section 2, Clause 68 of the Companies Act 2013, private companies are restricted to transfer of shares and prohibit to invitation to public to subscribe any securities of the company. So in general language, we can say there is a restriction of the private company to transfer their share to the outsider directly, because private company have to go on according to the Article of Association, and it is restriction under definition of the private company. They cannot transfer their share directly to the outsider, and they cannot invite the public to subscribe the share of the private limited companies. So in this video, we are going to discuss the step-by-step process of transfer of shares in case of private limited company. Step number 1, the transfer shareholder should give a notice in writing to the company for his intention to transfer his share of the company. The person will send a notice. The shareholder will send a notice to the company. In that notice, he will mention his intention that he wants to transfer his shares. In process 2, now it is the duty of the company after receiving of the letter. The company in turn should notify to another member as regard the price at which share would be available to them, and how they will fix the price. The price is generally determined by the director or auditor on the basis of the book value of the company. So in the step 3, the company should also intimate to the member the time limit within which they should communicate their option to purchase the share. If none of the existing member come forward to purchase the share, then share can be transferred to the outsider, and company will have no option other than to accept the transfer. So unless the shareholder will not give an option to the company and company will not give an option to the existing shareholder, a person cannot transfer his share directly to the outsider in case of public-private company. So they have to follow this process. If none of the existing shareholder is ready to purchase the share, then the shareholder can transfer their share to the outsider. In the step 3, for example, no shareholder accept the offer, he is transferring the share to the outsider. In step 3, execution of transfer deed. The share transfer deed is as such for duly executed both by the transfer and transferee. As such for should be duly stamped by the stamp means transfer stamps. No revenue stamp, no adhesive stamp. Only transfer stamps can be affixed on the transfer deed, and the value of the stamp duty on transfer of share with effect from 1st July 2020 is 0.015% of the consideration value. So the SH4 should be duly stamped, dated, specify the name, father, address, occupation of the transferee, folio number of both transfer and transferee, distinctive number, number of share. So all these information should be mentioned in the share transfer deed. Then next, the share transfer deed shall be submitted by the transfer or transferee to the company within 60 days of execution of transfer deed. So they have to submit the transfer deed to the company within 60 days of execution, and they have to pay the proper value of the stamp duty on that, which is 0.015% of the consideration value. Along with the transfer deed, they will submit with the company the copy of the share certificate or letter of allotment which was issued by the company at the time allotment of the shares. After receipt of all this transfer deed and the share certificate, company will call a board meeting. Once the company will receive everything, company will call a board meeting, will check the document and pass the resolution for acceptance of same in the board meeting. After passing of resolution, company will enter the name of the transfer in the register of member as the owner of the share. If the documentation of transfer is not in order, board shall register the transfer by passing of resolution. Delegation of power, company can delegate this power of acceptance of transfer share to any person also. After passing of board resolution, company will issue the share certificate and endorse at the back of the share certificate the name of the transferee that the share has been now transferred to the transferee. So this is the complete process of the transfer of share in private company. Like some things we are very important which we have to keep in mind. Rate of stamp duty on transfer of share is 0.015% of consideration value. Shareholder directly cannot sell their share to the outsider. First, they have to give offer to the existing shareholder. Price in case of private company, the price should be decided on the basis of the book value of the shares. This article will be published on our blog, that is www.cscsql.in. If you have any query relating to the transfer of shares of public company, private company, please mention in the comment box, or you can send the same to us on the WhatsApp also. Thank you so much.